Hey everyone, hope everyone's doing well. This is my response to Fitzy's contest. You're a great guy, man. I think we both know that you tend to show some of that hard rock stuff, and like I used to listen to that stuff more. So I like watching that stuff when you show it because it sort of keeps me in the loop of things, as well as obviously the older stuff as well. It wasn't always the same stuff I listened to. I listened to more like the new metal hard stuff because that was like when I was growing up. So I like bands that are harder, like the ones I can still listen to today and go back to, older school, like Korn, Slipknot, Cold Chamber, Seven Dust. So I don't really step too much into like the heavy metal realm. Deftones, of course, I still love, and that's one of those bands that just never changed. They're like a Radiohead for me. Just everything they put out is good. But thanks for letting me take part in your contest. I thought it was just a great idea. I think I can have some more options. I just sort of now. I don't want you to think these albums, just because they're sides that I feel are great sides, that are perfect sides. Some of them, one I've known for a while, two other ones are kind of newer to me, but nonetheless, they're still great sides. Some I sort of went through my shelves and pulled out some stuff, and then I realized that, I don't listen to enough one single record all the time. I have so much, so I sort of go through circulations. But just because I don't listen to it enough, doesn't mean that it doesn't need to be deemed being a perfect side, right? So let's start off with the two that are newer to me in the last couple of months, last month even more. This is Isaac Hayes' Hot Buttered Soul. Now, all three of these albums are great all in all, none of these albums have one side being great and the other one isn't great, but I would have to go with side one, which has Walk On By, and I should have looked at this before I said this second title out loud. Hyperbolic syllabus sesquidominalistic. I can't say it. I don't have to tell you. It's a really long word. But side one is just great stuff. When I found this, I always wanted to find some Isaac Hayes, and I found something good and I played it, and I never realized exactly what he did. And I'm a huge fan of his, longer, drawn out songs where they just really jam out and stay in the groove for a while. I want to get more of his stuff. I only have this and Shaft, and I really want to get Black Moses, Isaac Hayes Movement. Another one, I just really want to continue getting more Isaac Hayes purchases. This second side of mine is in the best shape, but luckily the first side is good. There's pops and cracks and stuff, but it's definitely still worthy of keeping in my collection. And so yeah, it's just an incredible album, the incredible side. Oh, it's not Gateful, I forgot. So everyone should check that one out. It's on Enterprise Records. So Hot Buttered Soul, side one, 2 tracks. Now, I'm going to give you the artist, and then we can see, maybe make this more exciting for you guys, and you guys can guess which one I'm maybe going to show while I'm talking about her. I've been listening to a lot of Joni Mitchell lately. Not only listening to her constantly, but more in a sense of a few months ago. We'll actually start this way. When I first got my started record collecting back a year from this past November, when I got my turntable for the first time and started collecting, I came across a copy of Count and Spark in like the bins for just a couple bucks, thinking, oh, I gotta get it. It's just Joni Mitchell. I've always heard about her, and I was listening to it, and I remember being sort of like, I don't see what the big deal is, and then not keeping it, and trading it somewhere and just not keeping it. But it's funny because I know, either maybe I didn't give enough attention then, but I know that I view music differently, and I listen to music differently because of this community and what I've learned about and what I've dug into and through the crates in just the last year and a half or so. And I've listened to things I never would have normally found or listened to, and so it's really changing me. So maybe me getting into Joni now, it has to do with that. Maybe it just, you know, I'm a very firm believer that music sort of comes to you when it's ready to come to you. You know, so so a few months ago, I found a CD copy of Blue, which I never got to hear. I always want to find. And so I was listening to Blue, and I was absolutely blown away. I loved it. So it finally hit me. One day I started calling Mary. I was like, it clicks, you know? All I Want, Little Green, Blue, Case of You, of course, River. I mean, this album's incredible. And once it hits, I realized, you know, that's the things with Joni Mitchell is you have to listen to the lyrics. You know, you gotta spend the time digging in there. Yeah, you can enjoy it eventually with musical quality, because she's very, very good with her musicality. But, you know, I mean, there's such a huge aspect of Joni Mitchell. That's what her words are. And if you don't spend the time with it, you're gonna miss it. So I got into Blue, and I liked that. And then I found a copy, and I bought a copy in the record store of For the Roses, which was the one that came after Blue. And I was really excited about that, because I like doing albums chronologically. And then after that, in San Antonio, I found a copy of Cow and Spark Quadraphonic LP. And then recently, about a couple weeks ago, I found a copy of The Hissing Sound of Summer, or whatever it's called, the one that's after it. So basically I have these 4 albums chronologically, so I've been spending time on each one until I knew I was ready to move on to the next one. I want to know I knew the album, so I want to see that progression. Haven't gotten to the last one yet, the Hissing album, but I have gotten around to Count and Spark, and after Blue and For the Roses and Count and Spark, I'm going to have to go with it. I'm going to say, and I've only been listening to this album for the last few days for the first time seriously. And this is new. I feel like this is perfect timing for this video and this contest. So I'm going to go with side 1 of Count and Spark, Joni Mitchell. This is my quadraphonic disc, CD 4-channel discrete. Asylum Records here. Now, I was originally going to choose side, you know, it's funny, I liked side 1, and then went to side 2, and I was like, side 2 is so strong. You know, the whole album is so strong. You know, side 2 I thought was great because the first 3 songs, Car on a Hill, Down to You, and Just Like This Train, are kind of more like the softer, really nicely, lusciously composed side of Joni Mitchell. And then it goes into Raised on Robbery and Troubled Child, and then Twisted, and it gets a little bit more rock, and you don't see it coming. So I was like, this is great. It has a lot of Joni in one, you know? But it's really the first side, I think, that just has the nicest flow of the 2 sides. I feel like you gotta have a song like, I mean, like, basically it came down to side 2 and side 1. Side 1 has a song called Help Me that I can't get enough of. Side 2, my personal favorite, is probably Just Like This Train. And I had to come down to it, and I just think that side 1 is what it is. You got Court and Spark, Help Me, Free Man in Paris, People's Parties, and The Same Situation. The lyrics are incredible. Just a great, great sound. You know, Shannon loves For the Roses, and I enjoyed For the Roses a lot. It's her personal favorite record, and I could totally see why. I could see why a lot of Joni fans would have their own favorite Joni Mitchell album. It's that type of thing, you know, sort of like liking Radiohead albums. But I want to listen to that again and then go back to this again. It might be hard for me to figure out which one I like more, because this is quite an album. So, side 1. You know, all 3 of my records are actually side 1. Now, if you've probably already noticed, if you know the music, what you've been listening to, this is the 3rd and final one I'm going to show. And I'm telling you, the song you're listening to right now, called Holocene, is actually the one that really hit me the strongest when I first got into this album. I just find it to be immensely beautiful. This last one to show is Bon Iver, and I'm going to talk about side 1. It has songs Perth, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Holocene, Towers, and Michigan. Another album that's great from start to finish, but I do believe that the first side is a lot stronger. Interesting enough, you know, I knew of Bon Iver for a few years ago when he got big with Emma, Forever Ago, that first album, and I liked that album. I listened to it a couple times through, and I think some songs are strong on that. But this is much more the Bon Iver up my alley, as opposed to more the acoustic side of the sound. this second album, he really just, you know, even though I wasn't following it and listening to him when this came out until later on, looking back at the first and then the second album, I mean, it was a huge jump in my opinion. I'm dying to see what Bon Iver, what the group puts out next, you know. Sorry I keep saying him, of course I know it's Justin Vernon, but Bon Iver, the group, is just, you know, it's just incredible. You know, it's funny, this is actually Mary's copy, and I wanted to borrow it for this contest video. Mary had saw this cover in the record store, and I knew of Bon Iver, and I don't think she knew much of him. She was like, oh, and she basically got it because she was like, I think I'll like this, because she was so in love with the cover. And then, you know, and it's great because me and Mary didn't really have a record. I don't think in my mind we didn't have a record yet that, like, I can use and, like, think about us and look back on memories of us and share a moment. And I got into this for the very first time, playing this on her turntable at her house. And I started loving it more and more. And so this sort of album, it reminds me of her. And I'm telling you, you know, it's funny. This song right here, Holocene, as well as the last song, Michigan, which I'm going to drop on right now quickly before the video's over. I keep telling Mary, and she's starting to think it's funny, like as if I'm joking or something. Or she's like, you really want to, huh? I really want Holocene and Michigan to be involved in our wedding. Preferably like down the aisle or somehow. I think Holocene is the one I'm thinking about for walking down the aisle on the way down, because it's a 6-minute song of such beauty, and it's a nice length of time where you can actually fit possibly the entire wedding ceremony in those 6 minutes without walking down the aisle. But this song, Michigan, like these two songs being on the side, first side, is what totally brings me the first side over second side. This song is incredible as well. The lyrics itself are very complicated in my mind. If anyone knows Bon Iver, it's more almost about the imagery. You know, it's sort of interesting. I've never been so taken away and taken back by a record that is so based on emotion, about like the music creates like a whole atmosphere and vibe for me, where I just sort of do the melodies that he does all the time. I can do the harmony and the melodies, but don't even know all the lyrics. But you know, it's he's able to do it. He surpasses just plain like lyrics, you know. Even though there is stuff in there of great beauty. So, yeah. So those are my 3 albums right there. Thanks a lot for letting me do your contest. Appreciate it. Take care, guys.